Welcome to the 24th episode of Comrade Media's cultural program, In Pursuit of Roots. During the last three or four episodes, we have been dealing with the dress style of the ancient Keralites and also the ornaments, especially God. Everything we have already discussed. But the most essential thing for all living beings, not only human beings, is a food. What did our ancestors ate and what are we now eating? Any semblance? Anything remained still now? So now let us deal with the bygone food culture of the Keralites. Sir, we are curious to know what our forefathers, ancestors ate during Sangha period and the following eras.
We assume that the present generation assume that all the food items of the present were available in the past. If you want to answer the question, what exactly they ate, we have to primarily know what exactly was available during that time.
So all the items available now were available then also?
Not at all. Only a handful of items available in plenty now were available those days. Other items came to Kerala on the wings of colonialism over a long period of time. The British, the French, the Dutch and the Portuguese colonial masters brought these items from various parts of the world.
And what about the staple food item? We have now rice. They also had rice.
We first have to deal with the items which were not available. Only then we can come on to the items which are available. Rice certainly is available in plenty. And our forefathers were very unfortunate because they did not have the luxury food-wise. Culinary habits were not that diverse because they did not have the luxury of choosing the food of their choice because they were simply not available. For example, potato was not available. The Tamilagam, ancient Tamilagam, never knew what potato was. Now potato is one of the staple food items. Onion, the big onion we call savala, was not at all heard. And would you believe if I say that chili, the green chili, the red chili that can spice up, make the food item hot, was not at all there. Until the Europeans, colonialists came in the 15th or 16th centuries, we were content with only pepper and ginger as spices, giving a hot taste for the food. So therefore, we did not see, when we talk about the curries, when we talk about the culinary varieties available, we were not having things that are available now, and the way we make things now were not the way they were making. Therefore, the fruits wise, we did not have pineapple. Pineapple came from elsewhere. We did not have many varieties of mangoes. And we did not have the breadfruit. And we never had cashew nuts. Cashew nut, we know that it is brought by the Portuguese. Paranki andi. Andi is nut and paranki is the Portuguese. So the nut or the tree or plant brought by the Portuguese. Rubber was also coming from outside, from archipelago of Indonesia, Malaysia and East Asia.
Any ancient species of mango existed then?
Natumanga, the local varieties existed, and a few other varieties also, But major varieties came from outside and also hybrid ones using biotechnology. We made new varieties of mangoes
we
created. So they had to choose from within a limited number of food items available. Vegetables and
fruits.
Fruits and meat and the staple food. Yeah. Now we come to the staple food, right?
Okay.
You were asking about the staple food. Sangham era. We had rice as the staple food as always. Ancient Malayali, medieval Malayali, modern Malayali all ate rice. Okay. Rice was consumed in various forms. Rice just boiled and dried and used, as we are doing now in Sangham era also. They were not using salt with it, but they would be adding salt later on, not with
Did
salt.
they have the habit of steaming, boiling, cooking?
Yes. No, rice. Let me finish up with the rice thing, because rice happened to be the staple food. Rice, we consumed rice in the form of nei wen chor. Chor is rice. Nei is the ghee, the butter, ghee, and nei wen chor is the white rice boiled in ghee, including ghee, water and ghee. So that was a tasty delicacy those days. On special occasions, rice in the form of nei wen chor was served along with that mutton curry. They had mutton curry.
The old version of a biryani.
No, that's a different thing. Biryani, that is the rice, nei wen chor and mutton curry is one variety. Ancient equivalent of biryani, they were not using the term biryani. Biryani involves lots of other spices also, contemporary spices also. And also it has nothing to do with Kerala. Biryani came from elsewhere, Arabian and elsewhere, north and west and Pakistani, Arab. But instead of biryani, we had an equivalent, rice and meat cooked together in a gooey mass. That was called un chor. Curry, not separately. Curry, the goat or the sheep curry. That is the mutton curry. Predominantly mutton, not beef. Beef, of course, they were using beef also. Mutton and rice and some spices and some tamarind, some spices and pepper, ginger, all these things, turmeric to give the yellow color. That was called the un chor. That was also a delicacy. But not every day. It was rice and some curries, some side dishes.
What about the main side dishes used in those days?
Main side dishes were made of either vegetables, except the vegetables I mentioned. No carrot, no beetroot, no brinjal. Also a certain variety of brinjal would be there, but not all varieties of brinjal would be there. And the normal local variety of pea is there. And the lady's finger and all these things were there, and local varieties, and rice and some vegetable curry were used, but predominantly during the Sangham period they were meat and fish eaters. Fish was a delicacy. Mainly it was fish, because all along the Kerala coast it is sea, the sea coast, plenty of sea fish available, and in inland lakes and rivers and all that, plenty of fish. Meenavar, Paradavar, Walayar, all were concerned with fish. And they would catch fish, take fish from the Neithal and Maridam to inner land of Kurunji and other Mullai, so that they barter fish with rice. They barter fish with meat coming from Idayar, not Idayar actually, Villavar, Vettuvar, etc. Hunt the wild animals, wild boar, and wild buffalo, goat, and all kinds of deer, wild deer, different kinds of deer meat. They're all available. Now it is banned. You can't eat.
Okay. What about the root items like yam, alam? Available then?
Root items were there. See, let me finish the meat items. Meat curry was so special those days.
Special.
Using only ginger and pepper for spicing. And all other things also to spice up the curry. Exactly like today's meat curry. Sangha period also had meat curry, meat involving all such varieties. Beef, chicken, mutton, pork. And deer and buffalo, all kinds of meat. Okay, that was meat curry and fish curry. And please remember, meat and fish were all bartered. Bartered. Fish bartered with meat. Meat bartered with rice. Rice bartered with salt. Salt bartered with some other variety. Egg. All different people controlled different sources of food. We never controlled the fish. And whatever controlled the meat items. They dry the meat on a rainy day, for the rainy day, or for less abundant times. They preserve meat. They dried up, they preserve the meat, and they preserve fish also.
Salted.
Salted and dried fish, they smash it into a form of eatable material and eat it. So that was also regular food as side dish along with the rice.
Fishing was a major occupation then?
Very much major occupation.
Hunting also.
Hunting, fishing, they're all major occupations.
It's like the cultivation of paddy.
So my point is, more than vegetables, the Sangam period witnessed the use of non-vegetarian items. Only when the Brahmins came to Kerala, they brought the vegetarianism. Then suddenly, by 8th and 9th and 10th century CE, they transferred Kerala's culinary habits, transferred from a non-vegetarian culture into a vegetarian culture. Non-vegetarianism existed with original Dravidians continue to be non-vegetarians.
Along with this,
Brahmins and other forward community people in the Chadurvarnya days now became vegetarians. So that transformation took place. And of course, yes, you were mentioning about yam and alum and all that.
And some other corn items like
staple food. Millet, staple food include millet. They called it thinna in those days, which was locally available. Now it is given to birds and it is not eatable, not very much eaten by the human beings. It's not a part of the diet now. And along with millet, yam, varieties of yam.
Elephant yam.
Elephant yam, Amorphophallus big one, and the small ones. And all that. Alum, a small bulb like alum. Was all there. So they were all staple food. Along with rice. And then the delicacies I mentioned. And some of the delicacies include the curries called
exotic curries.
Some exotic curries like chemput eel pulling curry. Tamarind is a different taste, which ancient Malayali appreciated. The taste of tamarind. So tamarind, chemputiyal pulling curry is tamarind and some pepper and buttermilk. Everything mixed and made it into a curry. It's a milk product, byproduct of a dairy thing. It is milk and buttermilk. They make it into buttermilk, curd, buttermilk, and then so that was a delicacy. And of course, the meat curry with exotic spices made in different varieties. They were all considered very exotic. So curry culture was there.
Avial, salad, tiyal, all these things never existed.
Which one?
Avial, tiyal, salad.
Avial may not, I don't know whether Sankham literature never uses the term avial.
Avial.
It is a modern term, lots of vegetables.
Put together and cooked.
We will put carrot and beetroot and other things which came from outside. Which came from outside. But avial can ideally have yam, varieties of yam, and some of the original vegetables available in Kerala those days. Could have been there. Cooked. It was an assortment of vegetables cooked and all that.
Okay.
And let us note that only cooking culture existed then.
Only cooking.
No baking culture. That time, absolutely no baking culture. Hardly any frying culture as well. Because oil was used as a cooking medium and not as a frying medium. Presumably, not many evidences are there, but we are made to understand that it was coconut oil all the way. Then and now, coconut oil.
Major one is
major ingredient of coconut. And in areas like Muziris, where the Roman settlements are there, they were using olive oil.
Olive oil. It is important.
Rice, the Romans and Arabs could not use the rice. It wouldn't be palatable to their taste buds, and also it was not good for their health. Therefore, they were bringing wheat and corn. They would bring wheat and corn. And make some kind of bread. The Occidental way, the Western way. Not the Oriental method of cooking, but their kind of grilling and all that were used.
Our ancestors used the steaming.
Steaming, yes, steaming, boiling. Boiling and steaming. They had something close to putta. Putta is something new. Putta means the steam bomb with the rice powder. Coconut and some oil. See, that is not there. That is a Portuguese and Dutch addition. That was a colonial addition. But instead of putta, they had the rice flour, semi-cooked rice flour, used and steamed, and they used to consume it. That was there in Sankham period also. Sankham literature talks about such kind of a eatable. That was also not exactly staple food, but they were using it in very many ways. So my point is, no baking culture, no frying culture also, but the steaming, cooking and boiling cultures existed.
Even
in
now,
Kerala.
we resort to that methods.
We now resort to, it's the latest addition. Boiling culture was always there, but steaming culture is on the decline now, and baking culture is on the escalation. Baking culture is Western, European. Colonial masters, even when colonial masters came, they did not per se bring the baking culture. It is an addition in the late 19th and early 20th century with baked cake and bread and all that bakeries. Cakes in Talasheri and northern Kerala. In British India, there were
sweet items like halwa, jalebi, all these things.
That's not actually baked, but it's a different kind of formation. It's a semi-cooked, semi-boiled, semi-thing. But baking culture is something which is so foreign even now. But we are using it now. Now the food is changing into there's Arab, West Asian, continental food, Chinese noodles, Italian spaghetti, and of course shawarma, shawai, and all that. Kurimanti.
So latest
addition. So for culinary habits are changing of late in the late 20th and early 21st century. But we were predominantly focusing on the Sankham period, where none of these things were available, only rice items and curries.
The
made.
dairy device existed there then.
Presumably yes, very much, yes. Dairy products,
Cattle growing.
milk, cattle. It was not. It was semi-wild cattle rearing, not organized farming. But of course, herdsmen were there, and shepherds were there, and they were having the dairies, not exactly scientific dairies, but cows. Cattle were grown
They
in
used
large
milk.
number. They would milk, and they make curds and buttermilk and
All
butter
milk items.
and ghee,
Ghee.
and all kinds of things.
So,
So
and
that was there.
what about the poultry?
Hardly any, but it was wild. It was not organized poultry.
Wow.
Every house would be having some.
Did they use eggs?
Of course, yes. Eggs were commonly available. Eggs and poultry, not exactly organized poultry, no organized farm, but eggs were in plenty, and some were wild roosters, wild hen. They hunt and
all kinds
catch.
of eggs they use.
All kinds of eggs they would be using. Eggs were in plenty, certainly.
Not only the duck and hen.
Duck and hen were all there, but it was semi-wild. It was all no property wall, no compound wall those days. It would be at large. These birds would be at large.
Now
And
we have
we're
learned
picking up
about
the-
the food items, including milk and everything. And you mentioned the Sangam people were fond of festivities, including liquor. You mentioned. What about the liquor?
Okay. Sangam era, people really celebrated over a drink.
They were fond of
They were
festivities.
very much fond of festivities.
Even war were festivals.
Yeah, even war was festival. We need to exclusively earmark an episode for these festivities induced food, the special food, including the liquor. Kerala was known for liquor. That craze still continues in Kerala and Tamil Nadu.
in a
The
modern
liquor
form.
consuming, modern form. So many exotic varieties of liquor were available during Sangam period. The way they make it and what were the materials used for making it and the distillery methods, everything needs to be elaborately dealt. We can do it in another episode, I suppose. So all other kinds of food items we were gliding through and having a cursory look at the items available.
So our sir reminded us of the ancient food items and coming to for modern food items, all things really watered our mouths. And very thanks, sir. Many thanks. He offered to continue the festivities and liquor consumption in the coming episode. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.